E30 stuff's coming up a bit later in the video, but for now let's finish off this battery relocation in the KE70. Looking at the drawing, the dimension that we care about here is this one, which is 190 between the centers of the mounting points. That's where we'll need our studs, but before I do that, I'd like a way to secure these into the bottom of the board so that they don't just drop out when I'm trying to set everything up. So I'm going to mark the center line so that I can put a screw through the bottom and secure it into the board, and then I'll also use that center line so that I can measure out the 190 degrees I need between the studs and drill out those holes as well. Doing it this way keeps the datum in the center of the part, and even if I'm off left or right, it is still closer to the center than if I was to measure out from one edge, whereas it would likely be closer to one side. So I could go to the trouble of marking everything out again, or I could just drill these holes out and then use it as a template to mark through on this piece. Or I could sandwich them together and put them in the vise, but I'll show you why I can't do that, and I don't have parallels to lift it up. Loose at the bottom because there's a little gap at the bottom of the vise. The countersunk screw that I'm using has a 3.5mm diameter, so I'm going to drill the hole out to a 4mm. Not bad. That could be nicer. Before I drill these holes out to be any larger, I want to know what the size of the shank's going to be on the studs that I make so that I can drill an appropriately sized hole and there's not too much play in them for the studs. The length of the stud that I'm going to need is about 28mm. These are 30mm bolts, so I'm going to cut the head off and then I'm going to turn the shank down a little bit so that I can work out what the diameter is going to be, appropriate sized hole on this piece so that I can weld one in. Ideally I'd just part these off in the lathe, but being that these are stainless and my lathe is just a little baby lathe, I don't really want to push my luck. I'm going to use this aluminium can that I cut up as a shim or a soft jaw so that I don't damage the thread, and then just use the angle grinder. You've heard that saying, if it's stupid and it works, it's not stupid.
We need to will it to ourselves.
New day. I did get a bunch of stuff done yesterday, but I was not feeling the best, so I didn't record anything. If you think I look bad now, you should have seen me yesterday. So I'll show you what I got up to, but we're pretty much done with the battery install. So you can see it there mocked up in place. I rounded over the edges with a round over bit in the router as well, just a very slight one on this edge here, just to take the sharp edge off, but a bit more of a aggressive one on the outside. Put it down. The bearing runs along the edge, and I set the height so that the round doesn't go too far down, only as far as I want it to. And you can, I'm not sure if you can see from there, but I also printed up a couple of little stoppers for there, which I'll show you now. And while it was in here, I also mocked up the carpet on the back edge, and this tape shows me where I want that to end at the back. And I'm going to tuck this over the board and secure that in place, but I'll show you that now so it'll make more sense. You can see on the back edge there, I've just 3D printed some stoppers, and these little stoppers just allow the board to sit flat in the boot because it's so uneven. And these are the last two here that I'm going to put at the front edge, one down on this edge, one down on that edge. And then with the carpet that I was showing you before, I'm now going to remove these. I'm going to put the carpet underneath here and then use these to secure down into the carpet. And then when this is down on the floor, it'll all be attached to this, which will make more sense when I show you. But before I do that, let's screw these ones in. Finished cleaning these up and painting them last night. As you can see, they look pretty good. also just sanded down the ends of these countersunk screws so that they won't come through the other side because I don't have any short enough. Before I screw them in, I'm going to put the carpet in because otherwise it's going to be too difficult with the studs sticking out the other side. I'm going to just try and put this in the center. Hopefully when this rolls over, oh, it's just going to reach. Perfect. Take it out again to get the, you know, those things. Now they're in. You can see that it looks like it's uneven there, but it's actually pretty good. And one final thing I'd like to do is put a little bit of foam down on the floor of the boot, just to, you know, help stop potential vibration and rubbing on the paint, wearing it away, and just generally be a little bit nicer. So this is just an offcut that I got from Clark Rubber. I don't even know what the thickness is. I'm going to guess maybe like 4 mil, something like that. And it's already got an adhesive backing on the back of it. So I'm just going to cut a little bit off now and put that down before I put the board down, hopefully for the final time. So because there's not a square edge on this anywhere, I'm just going to measure to what is close enough. And then when I put it in the boot, I'll just trim it to look good because the boot's not square anyway. So I'm going to leave this little bit of rounded edge here as well because waste not, want not. I'm just going to go 300 up and 300-ish. Sweet. I reckon I'm just going to give the boot a quick wipe down and then I'm going to peel this off and send it. I gave it a quick vac already, and this is just some wax and grease remover just to make sure it sticks, because there's probably 30 years, 40 years of dirt in here. And you can see here where the board's been rubbing, so that's part of what I want to eliminate. Oh my God, I forgot to press record. Well, I didn't. I was already recording and then I stopped recording, but I'll peel that off and I'll put it back down for you. How nice is that? Right, now I'm going to cut it. Alrighty, moment of truth. A little bit hard to see, but you can see how the carpet's tucked underneath the bottom of the board. That's about as secure as anything's going to get in there. And I can drop this down and everything looks perfect. Obviously there's a little bit of a step down here, but I'll be able to put another board on top and it will match up with that one and it will be perfect. But before I do that, let's give this one a bit of a vacuum and then I'll punch these studs through. Looks like I bought one. I was thinking about getting the soldering iron and touching the tip on here to melt it away and sort of seal the carpet, but I think what I'm going to do is just get the blade and just put a very tiny cross on there and then press it down, and then if I'm happy with it, maybe I'll still seal it, but I'm going to try that first. We'll do the one at the back first, so if I mess it up, it'll be harder to see. So this is not going to be deep enough for the nylock, so you can see it will still bite onto the thread, and I could pull it down a bit more, but I want it to really be up into that nylon. But I also didn't want to router out too much before and then have the bolts sticking out too far and then have to trim them down because then they'd look ugly. So I'm just going to measure this distance here and clear out the excess that I need to, and then they'll be perfect and it'll be job done. And there we go. Right, so that's pretty much it for the battery relocation, obviously other than running all the wires and everything. But now that I've got that situated in place, the next thing will be to remove the other battery and also work out what I'm going to do in the engine bay to tidy it up before I fit the J-pipe. So I've got a few things to do for that. I'm not sure whether I'll do the J-pipe next or whether I'll do the KE25 timing. It's probably what I'm leaning towards, but let me know what you think. Anyway, up next is E30 registration, so we can finally drive it around and we go check out the Fullboost open day. All right, permit is ready. What sort of permit is it? What is it exactly? Technically, they've given us
the club permit application. Yeah.
Club permit application is complete, and now onto Vic Roads to join the waiting room and wait 10 hours to get plates. You'll have to send me that photo. Prius PHV, pretty horrible vehicle, prohibitively heinous vehicle, particularly, you know. Your fault, not my fault.
I pushed it. You didn't push it. Did you push it? Sorry.
Nah, I'm just letting you take the blame. Oh, fumes are in my brain.
Plastic.
Passing Jess. There she is.
There she is.
And so it looks uneven.
Yeah. That's what it looks. It looks like panels are on different angles or
Yeah.
something, and then you get different light.
Yeah.
There you go. Good. It's Jayden. How are you?
Yeah.
Wants to go home and get on the Smirnoff Blacks.
Oh, fuck, no, I think it's sherry.
Yeah, the sherry.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
you can't even call it sherry anymore. It's too expensive. Sherry's actually worth money these days.
Oh, really?
Oh,
on
no.
the Moscato.
Yeah,
And muscle pusher, he doesn't know about.
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah, we'll make these changes, it'll be safer. We'll make 30-kilometer speed limits and that'll make things safer. No, it won't. Junkie man. Those like sallow cheeks, you know.
Yeah. Still recording.
I probably won't edit that part into the
I think
video.
you could use that bit.
Why do I reverse park? Because I'm bit.
Ticket number TR. Ticket number.
What engine they got in them? Are they?
They're Turbo 6, I
Yeah.
think. I don't know, it kind of looks alright.
I don't mind. The wheels are shit up.
Yeah.
The car looks actually okay.
I think it looks better in person than it
Yeah.
does in photos.
Yeah.
It looks
a bit
more,
wider.
yeah, but it looks like that. Yeah, they're going for that retro look. I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah.
in photos it didn't really translate for me.
Yeah.
But looking at that now,
Yeah.
it looks 240s, 260s-ish
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah, it does actually.
Yeah. The kid's face. Don't buy an E30 though. It's not a good decision.
There was no marketing campaign.
Don't be dumb like us. Buy a house.
Yes.
Some people just hate their kids. Like they lead with a pram, obviously, because you're pushing a pram, but like they'll just push it out.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, and then I'll look.
Oh, sorry.
Is another guilty pleasure car of mine, a VY-SS Ute in silver with the red interior. I reckon they are like, yeah, they are good, aren't they?
Oh,
Yeah.
should I help me in?
Yeah.
That guy was going for a mad pick.
Oh, is he?
Got fucking half
Getting some of his brain.
Turn around right at the time and put it in there.
What? Look at these gold wing doors.
Cause why rush it? Everybody tripping over public perception. The way you better move in the best bends. Elect friends, get a job that doesn't lead to dead ends. Know the meanwhile, stay decked in the best Timbs. Since Pharrell rocked the BBCs with the red trim. Guess I better fucking get to stepping. They talk about careers like you need them and they urgent. These kids are like 17 and they urgent. Some depression, seeds to get straight A's. I know I was rushing home just to and get straight blades. You know the age, naivety, frustration, and rage. Suicide rates constantly raised, and I'm amazed. Graduating, maybe you can work the rest of your life. Education, forcing dreams and aspirations aside. Y'all get the picture. These kids are falling victim to a system, raising money hungry in a food scarce prison. And when that prison is the building blocks for a whole generation, it takes someone great to instigate some separation. Know what I'm saying? Stand alone, fucking stand tall, dog. You can always get up higher than you fall, dog. I know they sweat you, but you just gotta hold on. I ain't seen my sanity.
Do you want to get in this?
Send my goals to a point of no return. All that in between shit you can live and you learn. It's half-baked.
He's got a mate here, look.
Patrol friend.
Exponentially setting these standards to what you meant to be. Come and sip on this drink with me. God's as friends as your enemies. Liquor rendered as remedies. The type that smoke weed and wash it down with some Hennessy. I wish that you could see what I see through this LSD. Cause the rate I'm going, I describe it as a fantasy. But this fantasy gave me the steps I was lacking to build better realities. You are not a fan of me, I do it for the family. The ones that held down the cold flow so casually, drastically. This is gonna be a fucking masterpiece. I blast a piece deeper than the ocean flow with Pharaoh me, bury me with all of my conglomerate. I'm trying to do it 20 times bigger than what I plan to be. They mad at me, cause I ain't never catching a felony. Rather catch me blazing straight piff on a canopy or balcony. Probably where Nate and G smoked a pound of weed. Still set tripping why these haters wanna frown at me. 90s RD in the booth, I'm on that fucking shit. The youth lost to try to tell them they should suck a dick. I know they swear.
Yeah, they.
Hold on, I ain't seen my sanity in fucking so long. Set my goals to a point of no return. All that in between shit you can live and you learn. Let's go. I know they swear me, but you just gotta hold on. I ain't seen my sanity in fucking so long. Set my goals to a point of no return. All that in between shit you can live and you learn. Let's go. I go by the name of Zay-Bay. I think you need to open up your
It really does. Deja. Alright, that's it for this video. Like I said, I'm leaning towards KE25 stuff for the next video, but I could also do E30 stuff or carry on with the J-Pipe on the KE70. They're all going to get done anyway, but let me know what you thought of this one and what you want to see in the next one. Cheers.